are discussing about duty drawbacks and the procedures, and we have just given a recap of what are the things which are there in the Customs Act. Okay, so when we do the recap, I feel that the valuation of goods under Customs Act is pending because valuation of Customs Act, the goods valuation is based on the GATT rule. Okay, so we need to understand what is the GATT rule is and on what basis the GATT rule is formed. So those things I feel I need to explain. So that's the reason in today's lecture I showed that particular PPT. Okay, so let's start with the validation of the goods. Okay, so what does mean by valuation? Valuation and what does mean by valuation? What do you mean by valuation?
Ma'am, to calculate the value of goods.
Okay, to calculate the value of the goods. Okay, so valuation means we are doing some evaluation of um, things. Okay, whatever it is. Okay, so valuation is nothing but it is the measurement of any things, we call it as a valuation. Okay, so the purpose of doing valuation is to find out the rates or the find out the amount for paying the custom duty. Okay, so that is a basic purpose of doing the valuation. Okay, and how this valuations are done is it's based on the GATT provisions. On that particular basis, the valuations are done. Okay, and GATT provisions also, the valuation is based on the amount which you are doing the trade. Okay, whether it is for import or whether it is for export, how much amount of goods you are selling. Okay, so based on that particular value only, the valuation will be done. Suppose if you are sending 1 lakh worth of rupees goods, so in that case, the 1 lakh worth of rupees goods value will be taken for the payment of custom duty. Okay, and sometimes this custom duty can be paid based on the transaction value, or sometimes it is based on the commercial value which you are going to import or export, or it is based on the invoice value. That means on invoice price, whatever price you have given, so on that particular custom valuation. Okay, okay, 1 second. So the custom valuation can be based on the uh, value of the goods or the invoice price, or it is based on the commercial value. So it can be of on these three bases. You can evaluate the custom duty. Okay, so this custom valuation in your Customs Act, it was classified under your section 14. Okay, any goods which you are imported or exported anytime or from any place, okay, all those goods can be has to be paid the customs duty. Okay, and on what particular basis this custom duties will be taken? Okay, when the seller and buyer, both of us, doesn't have any interest on the business, okay, but they have uh, exchange the goods. So in that case, they have to pay the custom duty. Second thing is, any one of them has no interest on doing the business also, they have to pay the custom duty. Third, the price is the major uh, entity for making the custom duty. Whether you have made the sales or whether you have given a gift, whatever it is, but still you have to pay the custom duty. Okay, and if the sales has been made with reference to the exchange duty also, in that case, the date on which the goods has been exchanged or the bill of entry or bill of shipping bill has been prepared, based on that the custom valuation will be done. Okay, and this custom value rates will be fixed by the central government and the board of customs. Okay, on basis on which the goods has been classified. Okay, so these are the basic categories of the customs duty. Next one is, what is the fundamental element or the features of the custom valuation? Okay, first one, if you want to pay any custom duty, you need to have the price of the goods. Okay, if you don't have a price of the goods, you cannot pay the custom duty. So the price is the major uh, key in the custom valuation. Okay, at least you if you don't have the value of the goods, the similar goods value you are supposed to have. So whatever goods you have sold, either you have the value of the goods or either you have the similarity of the goods. Suppose example, you are exporting coffee but you don't have the coffee value, means at least the relevant substitute value you should know. Okay, and substitute value, the quantity and the quality both should be same. Okay, so you can take that particular price and then you can pay the custom duty. So that is the first element. Second thing, element is the price of delivery. The price of delivery is at what time and place. See, 10 years back, what is the value of the particular product? You can't take it right now. Okay, so you have to take the value of goods which is currently available, whether it is for the export or whether it is for import, but the current value has to be taken. Okay, so price and the time doesn't refers to the precise moment. Maybe I don't want the exact date, but at least relevant date should be taken. You should not take far away date. Okay, and that too, the date on which you have taken back the goods, that particular related timings price should be taken. Okay, so then only you can match with your price and tariff insurance. Okay, next one is your price in course of international trade. Price in course of international trade refers to the movement of goods between the countries. Movement of goods between the countries, in the sense, between the countries, what value of goods you have exchanged, on that particular value also you can pay the custom duty. Okay, and the last one is the buyers and sellers where they don't have interest in doing the business. So on that particular basis also you can value the customs duty. And the last one is, for making the custom duty, you need to have your sale deed as well as the price for that sale deed, and both buyer or both buyer or seller or either one party will not have any interest in the business or others. In that case, then they can go for the custom valuation. And next one is the rate of the exchange. Okay, so that will the price rate of the exchange will be determined by the central government. Okay, so these are the elements of having the custom value. Okay, next one is how the tariffs in the custom duty will be fixed. Tariffs in the sense rate of the custom duty is fixed. Basically, the rate of the custom duty for any class of goods. Okay, whether it is a consumable goods or whether it is a harmful goods or whether it is a um, uh, non-consumable goods, anything, any category of goods. On they classify the goods based on that the rates will be fixed, and that rates will be fixed by the central government. Okay, and that rate can be changeable from time to time according to the norms which is followed by the central government. Okay, and central government will fix the value of the goods based on the similarity of the goods. Okay, they club together certain category of goods, and based on that only the rates will be fixed. Okay, next one is we need to talk about the when we talk about the calculation of the custom duty. The calculation of the custom duty is based on the GATT valuation. So GATT means General Agreement for Tariff and Trade Valuation. Okay, and this General Agreement for Trade and Tariffs is being classified under your Article uh, 7 of your Constitution. On this particular basis only, your valuation of your custom duty will be calculated. Okay, so in the valuation of the custom duty, the goods should be imported, and on when you import the goods, what is the actual value of the goods or the similar goods value will be taken for the valuation, but not the value which has been from the origin, or any fluctuating value will not be considered. Okay, so when you pay the custom duty, the custom duty amount is paid based on the amount which you have sent or the similar goods value only. Okay, according to the GATT rule. Okay, you will not take any rate on where it is imported, or any relevant date, or any differential rates, that will not be taken. Only the actual rate of the product will be taken for the custom valuation. Okay, according to the GATT valuation. Okay, and what are the concepts which is available in the GATT valuation of the goods? So under your GATT valuation, the first and foremost thing is when you value the custom duty, you will value the custom duty based on the actual value of the goods. Actual value in the sense, what is the selling price of the goods, or what is the um, invoice price of the goods. On that particular value only, you will be paying the custom duty. That is the first thing. Second thing is price at destination and time. That is, actual value of the price may vary from different places, but the where the goods has been delivered, on that particular basis only the values will be determined. Okay, next one is when you value the custom duty. Okay, suppose if you could not able to ascertain the actual value of the goods. Okay, in that case you can take the nearest possible values can be taken for the valuation of your goods. Okay, next one is actual goods. Means actual goods represents the invoice price plus any other losses which you suffer, or any other legal charges which you paid. All this will be inclusive of the value of the goods. Okay, so value of the goods doesn't mean that it only the cost of manufacturing, it is also the other expenditures which is involved, so that is also part of your actual price. So on that particular price only you will calculate your custom duty. Okay, next one is what are the principles are there in the GATT valuation. The first principle is neutral in effect. Neutral in effect is when you do valuation of your custom duty, you will do the valuation based on the price I told you. Okay, so that price is inclusive of your value of the goods plus any other charges, as well as from any damages also. So that's all will inclusive in the valuation. So in that case, when you do valuation, we will not exclude anything. We will take all the impacts which is there in delivering the goods. Okay, and there is no any effect which will be given for any additional protection which is given for the goods. Suppose if you are taking any insurance other than general insurance, so in that case there won't be any impact in the valuation of the goods. Okay, next one is dumping duty is not used in the valuation. So when you do valuation, uh, when you want to pay the custom duty, in that case the valuation will not take the dumping duties. Dumping duties in the sense too much of goods which is imposed, that will not be considered. Okay, for doing the valuation. Next one is when you do GATT valuation, it helps you to do unfair competition. So it protects the unfair competitions in the country. Next one is it is a general application. General application is like how you evaluate valuation the income tax rate. Same way, the GATT valuation will help you to calculate what is the custom duty payable. So that is based on the sources of supply of goods it will be paid. Okay, and it is easy to calculate. Okay, it doesn't have any conflict in calculating of custom duty. Okay,
And the sixth one is commercial documents to be based on the valuation. So whenever you are doing the valuation of custom duty, the custom duty will be calculated based on the bill value, that is invoice value. On that particular basis only the valuation will be done. Next one is it is quick and clearance. There won't be any, suppose in case of custom duty, the duty drawbacks or whatever the evaluation that is done will be easy to access. Okay, there won't be any time lag or nothing like that will be there. Then it is easily accessible to the public. And last one is it helps to see, it helps to avoid, it helps to prevent the secrets, and it doesn't gives any um, conflicts in the trade secrets. Okay, it protects the secrets in the trade. Okay, so these are the principles which is available in the GAT valuation. Okay, next question is about the import procedure. Suppose if you want to import any goods to other countries, so in that case what are the procedures you will be having? The first and foremost thing which you want to do is arrival place, from where the goods will be reaching. You have to mention whether it is a port, whether it is an airport, that you have to make sure. Okay, and who will be the in charge for that port also you have to mention. Okay, so section 29 of the act has disclosed that whenever the goods is receiving to some any place, okay, they have to mention which place it is arriving. Okay, in case of any accidental or in case of any unforeseen situations, so in that case it can arrive it to the nearest place. Okay, and if the goods are arriving in the landway, in that case they have to give the routes of the uh, routes of the trade. Okay, through which way the goods are arriving, so that has to be mentioned. Okay, next one is import manifest or import report. Okay, so once we have mentioned the place of arrival, next you have to prepare a report. Okay, the import report has to be submitted. Okay, so import report, in case of landways, then you will be submitting import report. Suppose in case of airways, you will be submitting the import manifest, will be submitting. Okay, so this import manifest will can be submitted in on electronic form as well as through the paper form also. Suppose if you are submitting your custom duties in the electronic form, that is EDI facility, if you are doing it, then you will be submitting your import report through your floppy disk. Okay, so through this particular mode, you will submit the import reports. Okay, so this will mention from where the goods will be delivered, what type of mode of delivery they have taken. All this will be mentioned in the import report. And the third one is grant to enter the inward by the customs officer. So grant to inward in the sense the entry of the goods. Okay, section 31 has said on what mode the goods will be entered into the uh, border, so that will be decided. Okay, next one is unloading of reports goods only. So unloading of reports in the sense the goods which is arrived can be taken to the respective places after getting the approval from the customs officer. Okay, so unloading of reporting of goods is nothing but after you receive the goods, you will get the approval from the customs officer, and the customs officer will help you to take the goods from the uh, arrival place. Okay, next one is filling of import, billing of entry. Okay, so once you have received the goods, you have to fill the bill of entry documents. In that bill of entry documents, this bill of entry documents have to be submitted in four copies. You have to submit. Okay, one is the original copy, another is duplicate copy. So the customs authority should have two copies. One is the original copy and a duplicate copy. Third, a copy has to be given to the importer, and the fourth copy should be given to the banker for getting the reimbursement of the custom duty. If they want to go for any duty drawback, in that case, one has to be given to the bank. Okay. So what are the details will be mentioned in the bill of entry? So details will be as who is an importer. Okay, importer's name will be mentioned, the address of the importer, through which mode they are sending, whether it is a air, through air or through waterways or through landways, that they have to mention. Then through which line they are giving, which line in the sense routes they which they go. Okay, and which port shipment they are going to use. Okay, whether it is a shipment, then they have to mention which port they will be delivering, and from which country the shipment is going to be arriving. Okay, so these are the details will be mentioned in the bill of entry. So details will be as who is an importer. Okay, importer's name will be mentioned, the address of the importer, through which mode they are sending, whether it is a air, through waterways or through landways, that they have to mention. Then through which line they are giving, which line in the sense routes which they go. Okay, and which port shipment they are going to use. Okay, whether it is a shipment, then they have to mention which port they will be delivering, and product is being delivered, so that you have to give. That is the origin of the country you have to give. Okay. And next one is what is the quality of the goods and quality of the packaging you have to mention. Then what is the custom tariffs which will be applicable to that particular product. Okay, any exemption is given to the product, that you have to mention. And what is the total value of the goods. Okay, and what is the total value of custom duty which you will be paying. So these are the things which will be mentioned in the bill of entry of the customs. Okay, once you have mentioned all these details, then you will be submitting the uh, your bill of entry to the customs department, and the customs department will verify the documents, like they will verify the invoices, they will verify the packages which you have mentioned. Okay, whether your payment for the importing of goods is proper or not, they will check. Okay, and whether you have given the goods category in the proper way, so that they will do check it up. That is the classification of goods, whether you have made is right or wrong, that they will check. Okay, and then if you have any broker notes, then they will check the brokers, mediators, uh, notes and other things will be checked. And the last one is if you have an insurance policy for the delivery of the goods, so that will be verified. So these are the documents will be verified in physical before the goods will be delivered. Okay, once the when all these documents are scrutiny, then the approval will be given. The approval for the shipment will be given by the assistant commissioner will be given. And when he will be giving us, when your goods value is more than 1 lakh, then he will give an approval. And after approval, the duty payment will be made in pinpoint typewriting. So pinpoint typewriting will help you to do easy accessible of your custom duty. Okay, next one is once you pay the duties, then the customs clearance will be made. Okay, so the customs clearance will be made based on the uh, customs and import code, based on the customs import code. And this customs import code will be based on the PAN number. Okay, which is given by the income tax authority. And once the clearance is done, you can pay your custom duty. And the custom duty can be paid in two ways. You can do it in electronic mode as well as in the cash form. Okay, if you are making the payment in the cash form, then you will be filling TR6 challan. Suppose if you are making it in the online form, then you should have a provisional duty account you are supposed to have. Okay, it's like a current account which you have it in the bank. Okay, same like that, you will be having some amount. So through that particular account, you will be paying the custom duty. Okay, and once you have paid the custom duty, then you can dispose the goods from the um, warehouse of the customs authorities place. Okay, suppose if you could not able to make the clearance immediately, then in that case you can take 30 days of time. Okay, but you should clear within 30 days, not disposable. If goods are not cleared within 30 days, you have to make it. Okay, in case of animal or perishable goods, you can take you should be taken before 30 days. And in case of arms and amenities, you should get the approval from the central government. So these are the procedures which is available for importing of the goods. Okay, next one is procedures for exporting of the goods. Okay, so when you do exporting of the goods, the first and foremost thing is you should give a business identity number. The initial stage which is taken by the exporter is he need to show his identity. Okay, what type of business is doing, what is the value of the business. So all this you have to mention, and you should have a current account with the um, with a bank. Okay, for a credit of duty drawback claims. Okay, so why they are having a current account is if they want to claim the duty drawback, they can do it through this account. Okay, and they should have a registered license for doing import and export from the customs authority. Okay, so these are the things you should have when you are doing the exporting of the goods. Second thing is once you have the business identity and you have a current account and you have a registered license for export, the next step is if you want, if you are doing the transaction, in that case you will be having a shipping bill, and that shipping bill has to be submitted by the exporter. Okay, in the shipping bill or the bill of export regulation form will be submitting along with the packaging list, invoice, and export contract and letter of credit. Okay, so these are the documents will be submitted along with the bill of exchange. So once you have submitted all these documents, then the declaration from the exporter will be given for sending the goods. Okay. So once the goods are ready to export, then in that case you will be paid the export duty. So export duty will be paid, and the duties and sales has to be paid before the export is allowed. So before when you do the export itself, you are supposed to pay the export duty. Okay. Once you have paid the export duty, then the entry of goods for export will be done. Okay, and that will be done by the proper officer. So proper officer will take the initiative to send the goods um to for the export. Okay, next, once the goods have been done for the export, then the clearance can be done by the exporter. So in the clearance, the proper officer um, will check your documents, and the physical examination of the goods will also be done. And once it is proper, then they will give a two copies. One is for the custom, one is for the customs, and one is for the exporter will be given, and that particular bill we call it as a let export order. Moves like that they will give. Okay, and the next one is they will check for the customs, that is valuation of the goods and the custom duty which you have paid or right, and whether you have any advance license or any shipping bills are there, all this will be checked. Okay, next, once you have all the checking in the customs, next examination goods will be taken, and then you will get the let the customs order the note you're already having, so that will also be verified again. And once that is verified, then the goods not to be loaded on vessel until the entry of outload will be given. Okay, so this will be this is done when the master of vessels is loaded. Okay, and this will be done by the proper officer. Okay, once that is done, then the conveyance to levy the written order will be given. Okay, so this letter order will be given for the vessel or any aircraft. Okay, in which is given by the customs officer. Okay, so they will be given export manifest submitted, bill of entry will be given, and what are the storage consumed which paid or any penalty is given. So all these details will be mentioned. And the next one is notice of supply will be given for it. Okay, so these are the procedures for the exporting of your goods. Okay, and the next one is the last one is your what are the goods which is exempted for the custom duty. Okay, so the goods which are exempted for the custom duty are mentioned in your section 25 of your custom duties act. Okay, so the first one is exemption by the order. So exemption by the order is, so government itself will give some specific goods which are being exempted. Okay, or the goods which has been produced from some specific places will be exempted. Okay, so those goods will be exempted for paying the custom duty. Example, any goods, food packages or food packing machines. Okay, so which is grant by the government exemptions will be considered as a exempted goods. Okay, maybe any goods which is supplied on the public interest, so that will be fully exempted from the tax. Okay, there is a notification exempted, so notification exemption will be given by the central government. Okay, next one is exemption by the special order or on ad hoc basis. Okay, so this is classified under section 25 subsection 2. Okay, so this particular exemptions will be availed when the goods are given under any life-saving drugs or any hygienic materials or any disposable or handicapped articles. Okay, so these are comes under your special ordering goods. Okay, or any instrument which is exported for any exhibitions, or any cylinder which is re-imported for filling the gas, or any Indian Navy materials which is imported, or any equipment for defense. Okay, or any software materials which is used for the research or for any education purposes. Okay, any trophies or any awards which is for which is backed by a player. Okay, reputed player if he is doing. So in these cases the custom duty will be exempted. Okay, on the special orders. Next one is general exemptions. So general exemptions are like existing exemptions which is extended for the public funding research. So if you do any research, in that case, you will be having a general exemption limit, and that general exemption limit will be for 2,000 rupees, can be exempted for import through couriers, and no duty will be charged for the total amount of duty if it is 100 or less. Okay, so these are the general exemptions. So general exemption is available only if you are doing for any public welfare research. If you are doing, in that case only you will be getting any general exemption. Okay, and that too, the gift value will not be more than 2,000 rupees, and no duty will be charged when the total duty value is 100 or less. So this is a general exemption. Next one is any exemption given for ONGC and IOC. That is IOC in the sense Indian Oil Petroleum. For them, you will have the common exemptions will be given. And next one is your other exemptions. So other exemptions are like any secret nature of goods is distributed for export or import. In that case, the custom duty will be exempted. Or if you're giving any goods for charitable institution, in that case also the custom duty will be exempted. Or if you are giving any goods in the nature of strategic development nature, strategic development nature in the sense for any development purpose or something like that. So in that case also the custom duty will be exempted. So these are the exemption of custom duty in the other classification. Okay, so this is all about the exemption of the custom duty. Okay, so first one, it is given by the government. Second one, this is also given by the government. From time to time it might be changing. Okay, general exemption is if you do any research for a public interest, then that will be fully exempted. Then any exemption given for ONGC or oil industry will be exempted. Another exemptions are the goods which is given for the charitable institutions or for any strategic uses. So in that case, the custom duty will not be paid. Okay, so these are the exemptions available. Clear, students? Yes, any doubt? Any doubt in the valuation
No,
of custom
ma'am.
duty? Fine. So with this, we come to end of your custom duty. In the next lecture, we will start with your GST, that is Goods and Service Tax Act. Okay, we will see what is Goods and Service Tax Act, when it is introduced, what is the history of it, and how the registration for GST has to be done. Okay, so these are the things we will be seeing in the next lecture. Okay, so I'll take your attendance.